With all the arm exercises that are out there, it can be tough to know which ones are worth devoting your training time doing. In this video, my friend Matt and I discuss our top 10 arm exercises and what we think separates these exercises from the rest. Coming up, we discuss why is it important to train the shoulders in order to have bigger arms. Also, we discuss a new variation of a popular exercise, and we answer the question, what is the king of tricep exercises? Drop us a comment below and let Matt and I know which exercises did we leave off this list that should be on it. Ladies and gentlemen, he is back by popular demand. Matt Rathbone is here to join me. We are going to be discussing our top 10 arm exercises today. Matt, how are you doing, man?
Doing well, brother. How about yourself?
Excellent. I'm really excited to jump straight into talking about our top 10 arm exercises. So number 10, I will lead with, is the dumbbell row plus kickback. The reason that I put this exercise on our list is the kickback, in my opinion, I just feel like whenever I do that movement, it isolates the triceps more than any other tricep exercise. Like I'm always sore after doing some kickbacks.
It's a great movement. I mean, I do love that combo. What is that benefit, that added benefit of, rowing before entering into that tricep extension?
Rowing movements in general are beneficial for overall shoulder health. It also forces you to find the correct position with your upper arm on every single rep. And adding the row is a great way to introduce variety as well. If you've just been doing kickbacks by themselves, you can switch it up with a row plus kickback. This movement can be done with both arms simultaneously. It's a little easier if you're going lighter with it. Like sometimes I'll do even sets of 25 reps just with a really light weight. You can do it single arm as an alternative, or you can do it with your hands supported on a bench to be able to go a little heavier with the movement.
Right, yeah. It's very, very versatile, but yeah, great exercise, great movement.
So Matt, what do we got for number 9?
I chose dumbbell lateral raise. Hits that lateral head of the deltoid, obviously. It really just helps with overall hypertrophy and just strength of the shoulder. So
many people think of arm exercises as only exercises that affect the elbow joint. They think of biceps and triceps. Those are like the top two that kind of come to mind. I think it's a really good point that you brought up, is that the shoulder is a part of the arm. Like the shoulder.
It's like, how are we going to abduct our arms, or, adduct? That shoulder joint is a crucial part of moving the arm itself. So I definitely think it is a worthy arm exercise, if you will.
Do you externally rotate the shoulder when you're doing these, or do you prefer to do these with the palms facing the ground? What is your kind of go-to technique for this?
I typically just do palms facing down. There's nothing inherently wrong with externally rotating and doing like a thumbs up lateral raise. I just prefer palms down. I've been doing a lot of the I guess I like to call them the Dr. Israetel lateral raises, going through a full range of motion where my arms almost go up over my head like I'm like Batman or something, like flapping my wings or my cape, So palms down is my go-to. What's your next arm exercise?
Number 8, dumbbell hammer curl. So the reason I like this is it's unilateral. You're forced to do the same amount of weight in each hand with a dumbbell. For that reason, it's good for both symmetry and correcting imbalances. Because you're not turning the palm towards you at the top like a traditional bicep curl with a dumbbell, it's actually hitting some of the smaller elbow flexors, the brachialis, the brachioradialis. So it's kind of working those smaller muscles a little bit more than the big main mover of elbow flexion, which is the biceps.
Working those smaller flexors is good, and it's a different change from hitting the major bicep muscles, and any athlete or person in the general public could benefit from hammer curls. I really like, like you said, the brachioradialis, which is a major forearm muscle. It works that as well, and working those forearms is very useful, and your forearm is part of your arm. So we definitely make sure we cover all of our bases and work that whole arm.
Matt, what do you got for number 7 arm exercise?
Number 7 is dumbbell overhead tricep extension. I love this exercise. I think it's a great tool for warm up, as well as if you're doing just an accessory arm day, throwing that in there with tricep, bicep, shoulders, whatever. Again, it's unilateral. You can do them both at the same time, but you can do one at a time. However you want to vary it, dumbbells, seated, standing, cables, you name it. So the variation's there. The principle is still there as well. So I love this exercise.
Yeah, I like that you're starting in a position where the tricep is already lengthened. And so if you think about the movement pattern of this exercise, it can also be sport specific for something like a tennis serve, strengthening the tricep for that movement. But sure. I think hitting the triceps in a position with the torso upright is a good way to pair tricep extension with thoracic spine extension. And so for that reason, I see this as a really functional way to train the triceps.
No, 100%. I totally agree with that. So it definitely, standing is my preferred way, actually. Thoracic extension is very important, and, spine mobility. So definitely a good way to add, sort of getting that little extra added benefit in there as well. All right, so we talked about the overhead tricep extension. What is your next exercise?
So number 6 is also a tricep movement. It's a cross body tricep extension. This one hits the long head of the tricep. It's great for shoulder health. I usually do sets of 8 to 25 reps for this one, and I really focus on keeping the upper arm completely vertical on this movement.
When you're doing this exercise, is there any benefit or advantage to having the palm facing in toward the body or facing the palm down or out?
The way that I usually do this exercise is with the shoulder in an externally rotated position. So we spend so much of our time, both everyday life, like sitting at our desks or eating food or, bench pressing in this internally rotated shoulder position. And so as much as possible, when I'm doing especially auxiliary exercises, I'm trying to get into that externally rotated position. So I like to have the palm turned so that that shoulder is in that position. I don't think there's anything wrong or dangerous about doing this movement in the internally rotated position. That's just kind of a personal preference of, given the choice between the two, I'll go ahead and do the externally rotated position. So Matt, tell us, what do you have for exercise number 5?
So number 5, mine is the bent over reverse delt fly. While it works your traps and some of your upper back, like your rhomboids, it really does hit your rear delt, I feel like, very efficiently, to the point we've been talking about, with some of these other exercises, just the variation, standing, bent over. I personally prefer actually supporting my head like on an incline bench. What that does is really kind of limiting movement throughout my torso and really focusing on the shoulder. You can do it with 10 kilo plates like you see some weightlifters do, or dumbbells. So it's a great exercise to use, and I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of time here, like in the front, and really neglect the rear.
So when you're doing this exercise, Matt, do you have your arms completely straight, locked out? Do you have the elbows slightly bent significantly? How do you do them?
I do mine preferably with my elbows slightly bent, but they're fixed, so I'm not moving from that bent position which I started at. I'm all shoulders, so as long as you can find a position that works for you. In straight arms, you can, like you said before, it's preference really. You can use straight arms if you'd like, palms down, palms facing out. I prefer palms facing, in. You can even do these, with your chest supported. If you're like laying flat on a bench, and if you can get your arms under the bench and then, out. Again, just an overall great exercise for the shoulder and shoulder health, and just, there's so much you can do as far as variability goes. So we got a little bit of those delts. What is your number 4?
Number 4 arm exercise is chin-ups. So pull-ups with the hands turned this way. So in our last video that Matt and I did, which I'll link to right here, if you want to check that out, which is our top 5 exercises, we discussed the benefits of pull-ups. And a lot of those same benefits from pull-ups apply here to chin-ups. The chin-ups are a multi-joint movement. It's a closed chain exercise. So closed chain exercises are generally viewed as being more functional, so having more practical application to everyday activities. And Closed chain exercises are better for working multiple muscle groups at once, typically, than open chain exercises.
If one can be efficient in moving their own body weight like that, I think it's very beneficial.
The main difference between chin-ups and pull-ups is that the chin-ups really work the biceps a lot more than a pull-up, just because of the position of the hands, right?
Right.
So we're talking about arm exercises here, so that's why I put chin-ups in. I think that it's maybe one of the most functional arm exercises that I could think of.
100%. I mean, it's a great start to an arm workout. Doing a couple sets of chin-ups, so pair it with maybe dips. Like you said, those multi-joint movements, and then going into your other sets and reps of whatever other exercises you choose. But yeah, chin-up is a great arm exercise, if you will.
So for our number 3 movement, Matt chose skull crushers, and right off the bat, I wanted to ask you, what is your technique go-to for this movement? Do you lock the upper arm in place and hinge at the elbow joint, or I've also seen it done where you kind of allow the entire arm to move as you do the skull crusher? What's your go-to?
Personally, my go-to is to have that arm locked and then just pivoting from the elbow joint. You could do with an easy curl bar or dumbbells, like how you were speaking earlier with putting your shoulders in that externally rotated position. Doing it that way is a great alternative. Me personally, I just like doing these skull crushers. I guess just the meathead in me, really using that easy curl bar and then isolating those triceps fully. I do, however, like to do I guess JM presses, if you will, where you allow that arm to kind of fully track down and then come back up. You still get a great pump out of that, but I really personally just like focusing on keeping that joint stable and locked in that position.
I agree that is a better way to isolate the tricep, is to keep that upper arm in that locked position. In terms of variety, I also will sometimes use just a straight up barbell for the skull crushers as well.
It's great tricep exercise. But speaking of tricep exercises, tell everybody what your number 2 is, because I love this one.
So I feel like number 2 is the king of tricep exercises. It's the tricep pushdown. So you can do this with a cable machine. There's a lot of different attachments, like everyone's seen that rope that hangs from the cable machine. You can do this with a band as well if you don't have access to that. And the reason that I like this one so much is it's really easy to maintain good or even perfect technique while going really heavy with this one. So it's a safe exercise, but you're able to really load it up. You can go heavy, you can even go maximal with this one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and the pump you get out of this. I mean, I just think of watching Pumping Iron and seeing Arnold in the gym and just, doing push downs and everything else under the sun. But just, I mean, that tricep is freaking just blown up, man. And I get the same feeling in the gym too, as well. Like like you said, it's a safe exercise. And also you can load heavy, load light, do a ton of reps until you just get so much blood in your arm, you don't know what to do with yourself. Great, hands down, one of my favorite tricep exercises.
Absolutely. So Matt, you are here to share with us the number 1 movement on our list of top 10 arm exercises. So what do we have?
Man, barbell bicep curls is my number 1 all-time favorite arm exercise. I feel like if you don't have this on your top 5 or even your top 10, we need to have a chat, because you might be losing it. It's one of my favorite all-time, hands down, arm exercises there is. The way that you can vary the sets and the reps with also, little weight to heavy weight, just the way it makes your arms feel. Also from a standpoint of just bicep health, if you're wanting to deadlift heavy, I feel like you should be doing some form of bicep curls just to keep, those biceps safe and healthy and strong. One
of my favorite variations with the barbell bicep curls 21s, you're doing 7 half reps from the bottom to halfway up. Then you do 7 half reps from the top halfway down, and then you finish with 7 full range of motion reps. I don't think there's any science behind 21,
no,
but it's fantastic. And every time I do that, I just have my arms have a crazy pump.
Exactly.
So it's just fun.
Oh, absolutely. I love 21s. Even just if it was like you and I standing, you know, facing each other, and I start at 1 rep, I hand the barbell to, empty barbell even, hand the barbell to you, you do 2 reps, hand the barbell to me, do 3 reps, work our way up to 100. I mean, like, if you want to see God, I mean, do something like that, you know, or like heavy 21s at the end of your workout, you know, where you feel like your arm's just about to explode. You know, it's again, hands down, one of my favorite just general arm exercises there is.
The elephant in the room is, Matt, do you curl in the squat rack?
Sometimes when I feel like it.
Only if you can curl more than the other guys squatting, right?
Exactly.
There you have it, our top 10 arm exercises. Thank you so much for watching. Again, leave us a comment. Let us know if we missed your favorite exercise on this list. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And you can check out the video that Matt and I did right here of our top 5 exercises.